You booked it, episode 200. What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining me today on You Booked It, the #1 podcast where you learn how to create a successful entertainment career. Have you joined the You Booked It community yet? It is your go-to entertainment career resource. Inside, you'll have direct access to Broadway performers, Emmy nominees, and people just like yourself navigating this industry. Learn from those walking the walk. Build industry relationships, access unlimited masterclasses, and learn how to book the job more consistently. Join free today. Tap the link in the show notes or go to youbookeditpodcast.com/invite to get inside. And now, let's meet today's guest. Okay, let's get this thing started. I am excited to introduce my 200th guest on the show, Judy Jean Kwon. Are you ready for this, Judy?
Oh, yeah. I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be. So let's do it.
Let's do it. Judy grew up in a Korean-American video store where she fell in love with the art of filmmaking and storytelling. Born and raised in Los Angeles, she is a daughter of Korean immigrants. She split her time between Korea and America as a child, and not really feeling like she belonged anywhere. One foot in the East and one foot in the West. She turned to music and the arts. She started acting when she was 17, and after 5 years of acting training, she went on to have a successful commercial career, breaking the mold for Asian American actors by taking on non-stereotypical roles. Unusually and uniquely beautiful, she went on to model for Herb Ritz and Steven Meisel, and also has acted in over 100 commercials. Kwon's mission is to give voice to the voiceless and tell stories of underdogs that are ignored. She is passionate about women's rights and immigrants' stories. Judy, that is a quick intro of who you are and what you've done, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, fill in the gaps, and a little bit more about what you do as a professional in the entertainment industry?
Well, I mean, I've been doing it a long time now. Started when I was 17. I guess filling it in, you could. I also have a alternate ego. I go by Yo Mama Rice on social
Yeah.
media because I'm a mom and I like rice.
Fair enough, fair enough.
And I wanted to turn the whole Yo Mama joke around a little bit. Yeah, I like turning things back on itself. So that was how I came up with that. And I'm also a creator, like I'm creative and writer, producer, director. I have a project out right now that's going to be released on Hoo Ha Ha called MILF Friend. That's Mother I Like to Friend. Again, the MILF Friend that I'm trying to change that. I use that title to turn things around on itself again because I just imagined a bunch of horny guys at 2:30 in the morning surfing the internet, type MILF, and then my comedy show comes up. I just thought it funny. So I have that being released. And I have a bunch of projects that I'm in development and also writing scripts. But specifically, I'm focusing on comedy and TV right now. Although I've written a couple of features, they're more
hmm
dramatic and thriller. But right now, I'm focused on comedy. It just seems like right now, with the whole COVID and everything we've been going through, everything's so heavy. It's hard to watch sad, dramatic stuff for right now because life or drama. So
Right. I think we could all go for a little bit of comedy in our lives, for sure.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I do have a kid that I am raising, so that's also a full-time job in itself.
Oh, trust me, I get that. I have a 4-year-old daughter, and it is full on, to say the
Oh,
least. Well, let's move on to our first section here. And Judy, look, I am a sucker for a good quote. What is your favorite quote you'd like to share with everyone?
oh my God. Actually, I make up my own quotes, but I wouldn't say they're profoundly and something that I would 100% follow. So here, let me give you a couple samples of my quotes. Here's one. It won't work out if you freak out. Om.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's like one thing that I say to my kid all the time because when he freaks out, I'm like, you better calm down because it's not going to work out if you're freaking out. And then here's
Yeah.
another one. Creme de la creme. Best rises to the top where it's full of fluff. So,
Oh, I love that too.
so there's, and then let me give you one more. This one right here, which is, if it's too hard, it's probably not right. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Like when you're in a
Yeah. Yeah,
even
for sure.
yeah, when you're even in a relationship with a girl or a boy, whichever you prefer, and if it's hard, you guys are fighting all the time, it's probably not right.
Yeah, for sure. And that goes for a lot of things and different projects and different endeavors that you're going on. Of course, you can't expect everything to be easy peasy,
Yeah,
but at some point you have to go, look, maybe the universe is telling me that I need to push things in a different direction.
exactly, exactly. Yeah. I think as
Yeah,
an artist,
so
you
good.
need to be open to be able to take different routes and open to do different things. Don't get stuck in any one thing, especially if it's not working out.
Yeah, 100%. I think we've all learned that as well during this COVID
Yeah,
experience that we're
yeah.
all continuing to go through.
Yeah, it's a growing experience. Yeah, you're always growing and learning and changing with times and situations. And be open to that.
Well, let's move on to this next section here. And Judy, of course, you are an entertainer. I am an entertainer, and I think that you'd agree that this industry can be one of the most subjective, brutally honest, personally emotional industries in existence. And you know as well as I that in order to create and have a successful career in this industry like you're having now takes a lot of dedication and hard work. And while, yeah, there's an outrageous amount of fun and excitement doing what we do, there are also our fair share of obstacles, challenges, and failures we are going to experience and we're going to have to move forward through. So tell us, what is one key challenge, obstacle, or failure you've experienced in your career, and how did you come out the other side better because of it?
I have to say there's so many mistakes that I've made. I can't pinpoint to any one thing, but it's just like I was saying a minute ago. It's learning to bend with the times and situations. And sometimes I wish I would have done that sooner. And because I'm a bit stubborn, so sometimes it took many mistakes to learn a lesson. And so basically, I wish I would have just, if I could go back and redo things, I wish I would have moved on faster.
Yeah,
Yeah,
moved on faster. There
yeah.
we go. And look, having the knowledge and the instinct to do that really also comes with with experience, right? We kind of have to take things to the extreme sometimes to realize if we're doing it right or if we're doing it wrong. And it's experience and just continuing to not necessarily judge that or use that in any negative way, but just take the experiences as they come and learn from them and really always try to review what happened and try to make better decisions moving forward.
Well, it's not just experience, it's experience will come with taking risks. You have to take risks and you have to stick your neck out there and actually make an effort.
Yeah.
And then once you do that, and then if it doesn't work out, then man, stop being so stubborn and move on. Because my problem is, like I said, I'm stubborn. So I'll just keep beating the same drum instead of being like, okay, maybe that is not working out and move on, because there's so many other outlets as whatever you want to do. I call myself I'm more of a storyteller. There's so much
Hmm.
ways to tell stories more than just one way, that I could have explored way more and tried way more different ways of doing that if I moved on quicker when things didn't work out. But I'm not saying that just give up or cut things off short. But you got to know also when it's your time to be like, okay, maybe that one didn't work out. I'll put that on the back burner. Let's try something different. And I wish I would have done that sooner. And I also am a performer. I do stand up comedy and stuff like that. And being like on stage, and you could know right away just from the audience's reaction as a
Oh,
performer
yeah.
if something is working or not. So I guess that also goes with sticking your neck out, because you could be in your own room and doing as much performing as you want, but if you're not out there sticking your neck out and being in front of a live audience and then trying stuff out, you will never know if it works, because in your head, of course, it could be working perfectly, but until you get feedback from the outside world, you really don't know.
Yeah, totally. And especially as a comedian as well. It's not like a play or say a musical where okay, we're going to give you 2 hours or 2.5 hours for the story to develop, right? And then we can go, okay, I'm not so sure about that arc. You're as a
Mhm.
comedian, your jokes, you've got one after another. You have so many jokes within one set. So you find out very quickly, which is brilliant, actually, in a lot of ways, if you frame it that way, to get feedback so fast and to go, right, well, we can try that one more time, but I'm pretty sure that one's
Yeah.
that one's not working
And
anymore.
if it doesn't work, you figure out how to make it work. You just have to keep
Yep.
trying it and trying it in different ways. You don't just
Yeah.
give up on it either. Maybe, but then take it to a broader sense. If you keep doing stand-up comedy, let's say, and you're not getting anywhere, then maybe stand-up comedy is not for you. Maybe try a different outlet as a performer. Don't just get stuck in just trying to do one thing. It's basically my biggest mistake and advice is what I would give to.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. Did you know building industry relationships are the most important assets you need to create a long-lasting entertainment career? And don't take my word for it. Guest after guest here on the podcast have attributed some of their biggest career moments to their relationships. That is why you need to get yourself inside the You Booked It community. You'll learn what you need to do to get noticed and make sure your headshot stays in the callback pile so you can book the gig more consistently and create a successful career. Tap the link in the show notes or go to youbookeditpodcast.com/invite to get inside free today. Let's move on to a time that I like to call your spotlight moment. That one moment in time you realized, yes, I am going to be an entertainer for a living. Or maybe it was, yes, this is what I need to be doing in the entertainment industry. Tell us about that.
Uh, I, I didn't really have I guess a light bulb moment. I just got into it because I was born and raised in LA, and I went to a performing arts school, a junior high school, a Bancroft Junior
Hmm.
High for the performing arts. So I was already always in performing arts, and I was in the Junior Philharmonic of California playing the cello. I was the drama student. So I did everything in performing arts when I was in school. And then I started actually acting when I was 17, when I was still in school. And I think it's just part of it was my location because I'm in Hollywood. So I just naturally fell into it. But I honestly didn't want to do acting. I wanted to actually be a musician. I wanted to be a rock star.
Yeah.
But somehow I got into acting. I enjoyed exploring like the psychology of the mind and all that other stuff, which I got really drawn into the art of acting. So I studied for 5 years with a dramatic theater teacher with the Stanislavski method and all that stuff, method acting for five
Hmm.
years, which actually screwed me up for film and TV. Because stage acting is a little different from film and TV, but I still enjoy the whole process of breaking down scripts, and I just love the whole art of it. So that's how I got into that. And then I've actually naturally somehow fell into, after doing my 5 years of training, the first audition I went out to, I booked, and this was commercials, and then I just had a long run in commercials of doing about 100 commercials. And this was before you saw a lot of Asians on TV. And the stereotype back then was the shy, timid, or the prostitute, as far as those were the two roles that were mostly being offered Asians. And then I thought I was breaking the stereotype because I came in with these big black frame glasses and short hair. And kind of, I thought I was breaking the mold by being the tech. So I would take all these roles actually that weren't meant for Asians, but I would go in and just grab those roles because I guess I filled that tech business, hipster, and also artistic. Like those are the roles that I would get. And then I realized actually after a while of doing that, I'm like, man, I just created a whole nother stereotype because this was before the silicon and tech blew up. So I'm like,
Yeah.
so I guess I was just at that time in the portraying what's actually happening in real life, but I didn't realize it until after that. I was just creating another stereotype, but I'm here now.
There you go. Well, let's piggyback on that real quick and let's talk about your number one booked it moment. Walk us through that day, the auditions and callbacks, if they happen to be a part of it. What was
Mhm.
going on in your life, and what about that moment makes it your favorite booked it moment?
my life and my career were two totally different things because my I was going through really heavy stuff in my life that I mean I don't think there's enough time in this podcast to go into that. But my grandma was an illegal immigrant. She was in immigration court. My dad was homeless, and my home life was a wreck. But on the other side, my career was actually doing really well, and me being in commercials and modeling, I had to put on a face because you're selling ads, so you have to be happy. I was smiling through the whole time to keep working. So I didn't really share what was going on in my personal life because it was so heavy. But I would say, I guess my booked it moment was one of my first commercials that I booked was with Tarsem, who did the film The Cell with Jennifer Lopez. And he's also a big commercial director. And so I went into audition for Philips Flat TV commercial, and it wasn't originally meant for an Asian woman. And I went in and I got it, which was I guess kind of a trophy for me.
Yeah, yeah, cool. And how was the shoot in the commercial? Was it a well, Philips, it's a huge brand.
Yeah, it was really.
It was a national commercial?
Yeah, yeah. It was national and
Oh,
actually
brilliant.
won a lot of awards. It was one of
Oh,
Yeah, it was one of the commercials that actually I think started changing the advertising industry because I even remember somebody came up to me who was a student at a college and they were studying ads because they were advertising student, and they were like, "Oh, we studied your commercial in my class." I'm like, "All right, oh,
wild. That's
yeah,
cool. Very
yeah."
cool.
hmm
Well, let's take a moment to talk about the present. What projects are you working on now? What are you looking forward to? And we've talked about this pandemic a little bit. How do you see the entertainment industry moving forward in the next couple of years?
It's changing so fast and so much that I don't think a lot of people could really make a prediction. Obviously, it's going more in the form of, to me, shorter time. I just don't think a lot of people have 2 hours even to sit and watch films anymore. I mean, I even noticed even with me, I think it's maybe because of the whole social media and TikTok. I just discovered TikTok. It's so quick and so fast that trying to sit through a 2 hour film is like torture, no matter how good it is. And I come from a video store, and not even working at my dad's video helping run that, but even after that, I worked at many other video stores, and I watched a lot of films, and I love movies, but I just find that nowadays it's hard to sit through a full length feature film. And I guess maybe that's part of it because I'm also a parent and I don't have that kind of time.
You're like, I don't have 2 hours
Yeah.
to give you. Sorry.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it's going shorter times. And also, I think the diversity is happening a lot now with the whole Black Lives Matter, AAPI movement going on, and people just craving diversity because all this time in Hollywood, if you look back, it's all been from one perspective. And even in America, 50% of Americans are going to be a person of color, I think in the next 10 years or something like this. And people are craving stories that they could relate to. And I think a lot of the stuff that's been handed to us thus far, I know I can't relate to a lot of it. So people want to be watching stuff that they could relate to. And so I think it's changing in that way too. And not just in race as far as diversity, but also with class. Meaning, I think a lot of content that's been coming out is also middle class, upper middle class, and wealthy. And if you've noticed during the COVID, there's a big divide in the world and in the country, it is United States even. There's, I think, more poor people now than there are rich people. And I think the poor people are tired of watching rich people's lives. Is it fair to say that?
Yeah, of course you can say that. And with all of that shorter content, I agree. I mean, TikTok has absolutely gone crazy over this past year. And this shorter form factor is definitely just blown up for sure. Your projects that you're doing on
Hoo ha ha. So I have, yeah,
yeah.
it's a web series. My web series is about, there's 10 episodes and it's around 5 minutes long. So
Okay.
it's in the whole form of social media web series. So it's short form, but it tells a whole beginning, middle, and end on a whole story. And then it has a whole arc, like a season, like a TV season would. So
Mm.
yeah, and it's also diverse with multi-ethnic cast. I have Chicanas, Asian American. I play the lead, who I'm an Asian American punk, and also has beautiful white mom. We also have LGBTQIA being represented, and it's all in the vein of fun. I grew up where I don't know, especially I think in the Korean culture, when you love somebody, you can make fun of them. And that was the tone that I was trying to take. But I don't know how it'll come across with other people who's not used to being made fun of out of love.
But you got to put it out there, right? Because you're also highlighting cultures and things like this as well, and
Hmm.
that's important.
Yeah, it's not just cultures, it's intersectionality. It's my fascination is when you take these different groups, because I've also noticed with the mankind or human nature, people,
Mm.
even though we say it's diverse world and stuff, I've noticed that people like to separate themselves in groups and they all look the same, kind of act the same. And a lot of people don't like to intermingle with other people that are not like them. I've just noticed that people just naturally, it's a human nature thing that they do that mostly. I'm not saying everybody, but mostly I see that. And for me, I like to take that and I would like to have them crash into one another.
I
And then,
love that.
uh,
Yeah, because it's kind of like it was when you were saying that I thought of the movie 10 Things I Hate About You. When
mhm.
do you know that movie? Yeah, when he's giving the whole tour of the school, he's like, over here we've got the jocks, over here we've got these people. It's
Yeah,
everything. It's like that's a story that's told a million times in
yeah,
movies.
yeah,
That it's just so sectionalized.
yeah. So I like to take them and I just like to crash them into each other and see what happens. I
Mm.
find that fascinating.
Yeah, I think it's so good. I can't wait to see it. Let me know, and I want to check it all out.
Oh, thank you. Well, you could check it out right now if you want on my website, which is yomamarice.com. That's Y-O-M,
Oh,
yeah, Yomama Mama Rice, RICE.com. But it's also being released on Hoo-Ha in about a week. So,
oh,
yeah,
beautiful. Okay, well,
yeah,
I'll definitely go check it out then.
yeah.
Perfect.
And Hoo-Ha is Elizabeth Banks' platform where she's highlighting funny women. Hmm?
Okay, very cool. So good. I will definitely be checking that out very soon. And it is time to move on to one of my favorite sections in the interview. I call it the Grease Lightning Round.
Oh,
I am going to ask you a handful of questions. I want you to answer them as quickly and concisely as possible, one after another. Are you ready?
okay. I might not have all the answers, but I'll try. Okay. All right.
All right, first question. What was the one thing holding you back from committing to a career as an entertainer?
I wouldn't say that because I've never held back. I started like I just got right in at 17.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Second question. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Best piece of advice is it's not what you know, it's who you know. I wish I followed it. I didn't.
Yeah, you know what? I say it all the time, and actually, I've got you booked a community that's part of an extension of this podcast is all about relationships because I've spoken with so many people. I mean, you're the 200th episode,
Hmm.
and it really boils down to relationships are
Hmm.
such a huge factor in the trajectory of your career, your ability to book work. It's relationships are everything.
Your whole life. It's your whole
Yeah.
life. I wish somebody told me that when I was a kid or when I was even starting off, because now I feel like, whoa, I just blew through my whole life not doing
Yeah.
any of that, you know? So there you go.
There you go. Third question. What is something that is working for you right now? Or if you'd like to go pre COVID, what was working for you before our industry went on pause?
I think something that's working for me right now is what I've been doing this whole time is always promoting diversity and championing that
Mm,
diversity in story, diversity in color, diversity in class, and hoping that's what's working for me now. You know, so we'll see. You know.
great. And the fourth question. What is your best resource? Whether that is a book, a movie, a YouTube video, maybe a podcast or piece of technology you found is helping your career right now.
This resource for me is just my life. It's my life experience. I've lived so
Mm,
much, so many lives. I just have a lot of story to pull from. So to me, that's my
mm-hmm.
best resource. But other than that, I actually do share resources when I get a chance on my platform and on Facebook. I have that on Facebook, Yo Mama Reis site, which also has a subgroup that I've started recently to get back into, which my mission is to share resources there, and it's Yo Mama Rice Does Not Cook. And I'm trying to help other writers and other creatives, and I'll point out things that are happening.
So good. And the fifth question. If you had to start your career from scratch, but you still had all the knowledge and experience you've collected from your career in this industry, what would you do or not do? Would you do anything differently, or would you keep it the same?
Oh yeah, I would have done so many things differently, but the major thing I would have done differently, but I mean, I can't go back in time, so I can't do it. But would be to go to Korea to do acting, not here, not in America.
Ah,
Yeah, because if
very
you,
cool.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, because if you notice, in Korea, the projects it's not, the Asian characters are not being stereotyped, and there's more projects there as a actor to sink your teeth into. And not even that, when Hollywood has a big project, they don't tend to cast Asian Americans in America. They go to outside of America to cast you, so they'll find you anyway when you're in Korea.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that. That's so interesting.
Just go look at the Oscars. Look who won. They're Korean. They're not Korean
Yeah,
American.
wow.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah, I've never thought of it. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And the last question. What is the golden nugget knowledge drop you've learned from your successful career in this industry you'd like to leave with our listeners?
It would be resilience and relationships.
Yes,
I hope
so
that,
good.
yeah, I hope
That's everything. I think that sums up so much of what this entire episode has been, this interview has been, and I fully agree. Yes, resilience and relationships right there. And to wrap up this interview, Judy, it is time to give yourself a plug. Where can we find you? How do our listeners connect with you? Is there anything you want to promote?
Yeah, so my show, you could check out my blog, and also have another show on my website called Heal by Create, where I talk about stress, anxiety, and PTSD, and I visit creatives, and then we make something cool, and then they talk about how they deal with those issues or give advice on it. That is on my website, www.yomamarice.com, and Milfriend Comedy is also on there, so you can laugh, and then you could read my blogs on there, and my life story is also on there under story, and then you could check out how hot I looked when I was a young model. and then you could also find me on Facebook at Yo Mama Rice, and then my Facebook group is Yo Mama Rice Does Not Cook, and I'm also on YouTube as Yo Mama Rice Does Not.
Brilliant. And for everyone listening out there, I've put the links to everything Judy just said into the description of this episode so you can easily connect with her. And also be sure to share this podcast with your fellow entertainers, coaches, teachers, arts and entertainment educators, and anyone you know aspiring to create a career in the entertainment industry. You Booked It is the #1 resource of expertise on how to actually create a successful entertainment career. Case in point, everything Judy gave us today in this interview, such fantastic insight. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next guest. Judy, thank you so much. I'm so glad that we got connected. I love what you're doing, and I cannot wait to go check out all of your content.
Thank you so much, Dane. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening today. If you enjoyed this episode and want more like it, be sure to smash that subscribe button. Also, be sure to join the You Booked It community. Inside, you can connect with your people, build industry relationships, unlock unlimited masterclasses, and access the tools and training you need to create sustainable career momentum. Get your invite link right now. Tap the link in the show notes or head over to youbookeditpodcast.com/invite, and we'll see you there.